After the 2012 December 16 gang rape, we have come to certain, there was a lot of conversation around that time, and we have come to a certain sort of an unsaid rule where we want to take the survivors' account at face value.
As far as covering rape is concerned, because right now after 2012 Nirbhaya anti-rape movement, thankfully there is more space for the media to look at those issues because they were not being looked at, or they were kind of dismissed in a way that they shouldn't have been.
The number one criteria is sensitivity. So a lot of things could change just in the terms of like tone and the way we kind of depict these crimes. One thing I really wish would change are the graphics, the kind of graphics that accompany stories about rape. These kind of really masala pictures, a lot of emphasis on the violence. It's kind of sensationalist, and I don't think it needs to be.
A rape, when it comes to a police station, is still a complaint. It's still at an FIR stage. You can't, put out your verdict and say, "Oh, this guy is a rapist." So I think what journalists have to pay attention is create that balance between reporting fairly, where you're not passing judgments, where you're not doing a trial by media, but where you're also being sensitive towards the complainant, because we are still in a country where women, when they complain against sexual violence, they are treated, their complaint isn't taken at first value. There's a lot of deterrence. A lot of them go through a lot of phases where they're told not to report it, or not to go to town about it, or not to talk about it. So it takes a lot of courage for a woman to come out and complain.
The other thing is the kind of words you use and the kind of words used to describe the victims or the women in question. So there are a lot of things people say, like, Naga woman raped in Deer Park. There's no need to talk about the woman's ethnicity or background. And I think that really has to change. So that's those kind of small changes I think could make a big difference in rape reporting in the country.
As identity, I think this is something that most media organizations do not pay attention to. Often you reveal the identity by either saying where the girl works, or where she works, and where she lives, or where she studies, or give out details like this, which will make it very easy for anyone to pinpoint who this person is, at least within her circles, within her neighborhood. A rape story is just not enough. What a lot of newspapers want to do is make these stories, makes it sound crass, but to make one rape story better than the other rape story. And that they do by adding salacious details, like what was she doing before, does she know the guy, what was the relationship with this guy, what was she wearing, what did she drink, what did she eat. So what is happening now is to make it juicy.
There are a lot of markers like that of caste, class, or religion for that matter. For instance, if you look at the Muzaffarnagar rapes, they were not picked up by the mainstream media in the way a case of Nirbhaya was picked up. And that also means that anything that has some kind of political angle to it is ignored by the media. So I think that rapes are not just crimes against women, but there's a lot of background that comes with it, and I think mainstream media is very reticent to acknowledge that background that is leading to this kind of situation. For instance, in the Bhagana rape case, Dalit women were raped, and because they were raped because the Dalits in the village were demanding lands from the Jats in that village. So to teach them a lesson, they were raped. So it was not just a power trip, but another kind of caste hierarchy that was playing. So I think each time when we talk about rape, it should not just be looked at violence against women, but I think it should also address the larger questions that make women far more vulnerable in that situation by the markers of their caste or their identities that the mainstream media does not want to touch upon.